careful about messaging because they don't want to get to discrimination in either direction. But certainly there have been times where, there's no way we're on a white house.
Just kind of unspoken.
There are times when it's spoken, but
how would they say it?
There's no way we're hiring a white male.
Like straight to you, or okay?
They'd be very careful how they message that to agents.
In like email or whatever.
Disney have decided to go extremely woke on their DEI policy, their diversity, equity, inclusion policy, which states that you don't need to be great to get the part. You don't need to be extraordinary. You just need to look in a certain kind of way. You need to be a little bit more black for certain roles. So we're primarily hiring based off of your ethnicity, your sexual orientation. We're basically implementing extremely woke policies in our corporation, and we're stripping down meritocracy. Don't worry about creating the best, movies. Don't worry about, actors thriving in their role and being the best that they can possibly be. No, we just want to do what the Democrat Party or the Labour Party do in the UK and play a game of identity politics. In this game, is identity corporate politics is what they're implementing. So yeah, right now we're going to watch a secret recording of a man that's a senior vice president. I believe his name is Michael Giordano. Well, this is what I'm seeing on the screen right now. So let's have a watch of this and then I'll come with my analysis as always.
Not just gender or sexual orientation and ethnicity, but making sure that they're hiring some writers who they have some disabilities, but they want to hire them. So there's kind of there's a really broad look at whatever we're doing to make sure
So they talk a big game about DEI, but do they actually do it? Apparently so. They even passed over a qualified half-black person for a promotion because they didn't look black enough.
We had a situation where we wanted to hire somebody in the department a few years ago now, who was half black, but didn't appear half black. And there was a creative executive who was like, "We're not that's not what's black." Right?
They wanted the full.
They wanted somebody in meetings who would appear a certain way, and he wasn't going to bring that to the meeting.
And so this is on the.
This was on the
corporate side, the business side.
Never understood that. It's because I know a lot of I have a lot of black friends who are not as dark as Because do they care about that, or the ethnicity actually?
They say they don't care about it, but the truth is, to some extent, they do. If you're mixed, but you don't black at all, which sometimes happens, then they're like, "Oh, I'm not so sure." But if you're mixed and you can tell somebody's part black, but they're not that black, that is crazy.
But apparently Meghan Markle is black enough. You can't make this up.
So would Meghan Markle pretty white?
Right, yeah.
Would she be considered
She would still be,
diverse?
Huh? As a white guy, even Michael has his own doubts about the possibility for advancement for himself at Disney, saying, quote, "As far as Disney is concerned, I'm a white male."
I'm a half step below a department head. I have a team under me, but I don't oversee a whole department. And I'd like to oversee a whole department, whether that's at Disney or have it to lead.
Okay. Do you think that you'll have the opportunity at Disney?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I think I'm sort of well prepared for it. I'm well positioned for it. But as far as Disney's concerned, I'm a white male. That's not who they're looking at promoting.
In fact, Michael actually got to experience.
But why though? What's going on with Disney? I've noticed in recent years, I'm not going to talk too long, guys, because we need to watch this footage. But in recent years, Disney have just gone super woke, so woke that they're losing billions as a result. What are you gaining from this wokeness? It's fine. Leave characters the way we grew up watching them. You don't need to change things around. Many of us grew up watching our idols for what they were. They were of different ethnicities, but that's cool because this is how we grew up and started appreciating that character as such. But what Disney are doing now and what they're implementing, I will never understand. I think they're on a mission to just bankrupt themselves, because that's what it's looking like if they carry on implementing these silly, gullible DEI. Even a lot of liberals are like, what's really going on? A lot of wokies, progressives, like, what's going on, Disney? This is just getting silly now. So, yeah, I don't know what the end goal is for Disney. But anyway, let's carry on.
Disney's discrimination against white males firsthand.
Oh, do you think that has a lot to do with it?
Well, I don't know a lot, but it's something to do with it.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you think the competition is?
Well, I mean, I've been up for jobs internally against people who have less experience than me, and
Okay. And they were given to somebody else. Do you think it had something to do with their...
one or two cases, I was told very explicitly that it did. Yeah.
Explicitly how? What did they tell you?
I mean, I've been at the company for 11 years now, so I have friends in HR and I have friends in other divisions, and they're like, look, nobody else is going to tell you this, Mike, but they're not considering any white males for this job. They're just not. That's not what they want.
And so it's probably fair that Disney would say, we don't want a white person to play this role.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're very careful about they're very careful about messaging, because they don't want to get to discrimination in either direction. But certainly there have been times where, there's no way we're on a white male.
Just kind of unspoken.
There are times when it's spoken, but
how would they say it?
there's no way we're hiring a white male visual.
Damn.
They'd say,
Like straight to you, or okay,
they'd be very careful how they message that to agents.
in like email or whatever.
But
After getting a dose of Disney's discrimination himself, it seems like Michael may have been hit with a reality check that discrimination against people based upon race is probably not cool.
I mean, it kind of feels like at some point there's going to be a lawsuit. That's kind of how it feels, just because of,
And that is a lawyer talking. Now, could it get worse? It actually does. Not only does Disney discriminate against white men, it gives management bonuses to hire DEI candidates over white men, totally disregarding their level of qualification, as long as they're not white. You heard me correctly. A part of some executives' compensation package is based on hiring and retaining black hires. We saw this in the case of IBM. America First Legal has launched a lawsuit, many people coming out of the woodwork from IBM, from these Fortune 500 companies, all saying they've experienced this. We are certain to hear from people inside Disney who've made these claims. Many people here in Los Angeles, here in Hollywood, very afraid of Disney, very afraid of retaliation against their creative productions or movies or films or jobs for speaking about this truth. But if you have been a victim of discrimination, please reach out to OMG or Citizen Journalism Foundation. We will try to get you representation to get your rights back.
I mean, HR keeps a huge spreadsheet. Yeah.
What kind of spreadsheet?
I mean, I haven't seen it exactly, but I mean, literally, they have stats. 17% of our executives at this level identify as XYZ. 40% of our executives at this level identify as, So they have goals that they're trying to hit. They want a certain percentage of diversity here, a certain percentage of diversity there.
But are these are open goals? Because you're saying they can't say it in such specific terms. So are they open goals?
They are open goals at a senior enough level.
So how does Disney explain pushing these discriminatory practices to the people that they work with? Well, according to Michael Giordano, it seems like it's a sensitive issue, and they use code words and buzzwords.
I'm guessing that there's acceptable code words and buzzwords that are used to explain what they're looking for. They might say something like, look, we're not looking at like the usual suspects for this job. So it's like not like a legally actionable thing. So everybody knows what it means.
According to Michael, even Disney's human resources agencies are on board with these practices. All right, guys, do you know what the code words are for the discriminatory hiring practices? Do you work in HR? No? You familiar with the buzzwords? They don't know what I'm talking about now, but they will soon.
They, for writers and actors, we hear all the time, like, I'm looking to hire writers and actors who bring diversity. I'm not looking to bring on any more clients who are, like, so there's definitely that focus.
Disney even has an internal organization such as 20th Action Group, whose sole purpose is to promote discriminatory DEI hiring practices and to push bizarre characters and storylines on children. The question is, can the people just come to work, make their cartoons, and do the discrimination elsewhere? But apparently not on CEO Bob Iger's watch. So how is prioritizing these DEI practices over hiring merit-based talent worked out for Disney shareholders, you might ask? Well, over the past 5 years, the S&P index is up over 88%, and Disney is down almost 30%, making that once golden brand one of Wall Street's biggest disappointments. Yes, the disaster that Disney has become is probably the most glaring example of what happens when you prioritize DEI over talent content creators and executives who truly know how to build value. So will Disney turn it all around and hire or promote based upon merit? We shall see. This is just part one. We got another tape coming out next week. This is a multiple part series. I spoke with Michael Giordano. You'll see that soon.
We are.
You have nothing to say?
I haven't seen you.
Do you work for Disney?
I'm not gonna.
Is this you right here?
Ooh.
And hopefully we get a comment from the CEO, Bob Iger, reporting from Burbank, California, outside the Walt Disney Company. This is James O'Keefe with OMG.
Disney seemed to be going down the pan, honestly, especially with these extremely woke policies. So on top of ethnicity, as well as sexual orientation, they also need a percentage of staff or workers that are disabled. This isn't funny, but the DEI is just, honestly, it's too woke. It's silly. It's really just silly. Listen, if you're a leftist, a far leftist, liberal, whatever you want to call yourself, if you're a centrist, conservative, wherever you are on the political spectrum, look, let's just put that aside. This is just killing the Disney that we grew up watching and enjoying their production. They had fantastic production growing up, and I don't know why they have gone into this self-sabotaging mode of sabotaging all things that was working perfectly effectively. And they're losing billions as a result of these extremely woke implementation of corporate policies. What are you doing, Disney? Stop, Disney. Cut this out. You're losing revenue. Don't you care about that? Okay, forget the revenue. You have a lot of money. Cool, you have billions, but what about just making, great productions, great films, start making great films again, man. Honestly, man, Disney's gone down, man, and they need to change it. They need to change these extremely woke policies because they're just gonna, Disney's soon gonna be gone if they carry on doing this, And wherever you lie on the political spectrum, just keep it real and just be honest. Even if you're, let's say, if you're a black person, a black liberal watching this, you can still be honest and say, look, I'd rather get somewhere based off of my merit and me actually deserving that versus because of how I look. Boom, I got the, it's not going to feel genuine. It's not going to feel real. Like, how can you smile with a straight face? How can you go on set? How can you work at Disney knowing that you're only there because of how you look? Stop this, Disney. It's enough. It's enough. Just call it a trial and error period. You've tried it out. It's not worked. Now let's get back to what we grew up knowing Disney for. But, only time will tell. I think I'm going to be on the lookout for the second part because I want to know what Bob Iger says about this. He's the man at the top of Disney. And let's see what he says about all of this, if he even takes the interview anyway, which he probably won't. After seeing this come out, he's not going to take. He's probably going to put a statement, a corporate statement, and say that this is just not correct or something like that. You know, try and backpedal. But yeah, I'm going to be paying attention and seeing what comes of this. And even Elon Musk has come and he's even said, what the hell's going on here? You know, he said something on Twitter. He was like, what? This is just silly. It's absurd. You know, so let's just pay attention and see what happens. But they need to cut this out. You know, cut all of this out, Disney. Get back to how he was and stop being a donut, man. Come on. Just stop. So yeah. But anyway, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you at the next video. Peace.